Welcome to bonus class. In this video, we will read Food Security in India from the NCERT book. We recommend to open your books and listen line by line. Before getting started, please subscribe to our channel because I am also a 17-year-old boy doing all this for you guys. Now let's get started. Overview: Food security means availability, accessibility and affordability of food to all people at all times. The poor households are more vulnerable to food insecurity whenever there is a problem of production or distribution of food crops. Food security depends on the public distribution system, PDS, and government vigilance and action at times when this security is threatened. What is food security? Food is as essential for living as air is for breathing. But food security means something more than getting 2 square meals. Food security has following dimensions. A. Availability of food means food production within the country, food imports, and the previous year's stock stored in government granaries. B. Accessibility means food is within reach of every person. C. Affordability implies that an individual has enough money to buy sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet one's dietary needs. Thus, food security is ensured in a country only if 1. Enough food is available for all the persons, 2. All persons have the capacity to buy food of acceptable quality, and 3. There is no barrier on access to food. Why food security? The poorest section of the society might be food insecure most of the times, while persons above the poverty line might also be food insecure when the country faces a national disaster/calamity like earthquake, drought, flood, tsunami, widespread failure of crops causing famine, etc. How is food security affected during a calamity? Due to a natural calamity, say drought, total production of food grains decreases. It creates a shortage of food in the affected areas. Due to shortage of food, the prices goes up. At the high prices, some people cannot afford to buy food. If such calamity happens in a very widespread area or is stretched over a longer time period, it may cause a situation of starvation. A massive starvation might take a turn of famine. A famine is characterized by widespread deaths due to starvation and epidemics caused by forced use of contaminated water or decaying food and loss of body resistance due to weakening from starvation. The most devastating famine that occurred in India was the famine of Bengal in 1943. This famine killed 30 lakh people in the province of Bengal. Nothing like Bengal famine has happened in India again. It is, however, disturbing to note that even today, famine-like conditions exist in many parts of the country, leading to starvation deaths at times. Natural calamities and pandemics may also lead to food shortage. For example, COVID-19 pandemic had an adverse impact upon the food security. Restriction on movement of people and goods and services impacted economic activity. Therefore, food security is needed in a country to ensure food at all times, including calamities and pandemics who are food insecure. Although a large section of people suffer from food and nutrition insecurity in India, the worst affected groups are landless people with little or no land to depend upon, traditional artisans, providers of traditional services, petty self-employed workers and destitutes including beggars. In the urban areas, the food insecure families are those whose working members are generally employed in ill-paid occupations and casual labor market. These workers are largely engaged in seasonal activities and are paid very low wages that just ensure bare survival. Story of Ramu. Ramu works as a casual laborer in agriculture in Raipur village. His eldest son Somu, who is 10 years old, also works as a pali to look after the cattle of the sarpanch of the village Satpal Singh. Somu is employed for the whole year by the sarpanch and is paid a sum of 1,000 rupees for this work. Ramu has 3 more sons and 2 daughters, but they are too young to work on the field. His wife Sunhari is also part-time, working as house cleaner for the livestock, removing and managing cow dung. She gets half-liter milk and some cooked food along with vegetables for her daily work. Besides, she also works in the field along with her husband in the busy season and supplements his earnings. Agriculture, being a seasonal activity, employs Ramu only during times of sowing, transplanting and harvesting. He remains unemployed for about 4 months during the period of plant consolidation and maturing in a year. He looks for work in other activities. Sometimes he gets employment in bricklaying or in construction activities in the village. By all his efforts, Ramu is able to earn enough either in cash or kind for him to buy essentials for 2 square meals for his family. However, during the days when he is unable to get some work, he and his family really face difficulties, and sometimes his small kids have to sleep without food. Milk and vegetables are not a regular part of meals in the family. Ramu is food insecure during 4 months when he remains unemployed because of the seasonal nature of agriculture work. Story of Ahmad. Ahmad is a rickshaw puller in Bangalore. He has shifted from Chumri to Leo along with his 3 brothers, 2 sisters and old parents. He stays in a chuggy. The survival of all members of his family depends on his daily earnings from pulling rickshaw. However, he does not have a secured employment and his earnings fluctuate every day. During some days he gets enough earning for him to save some amount after buying all his day-to-day necessities. On other days, he barely earns enough to buy his daily necessities. However, fortunately, Ahmad has a yellow card, which is PTS card for below poverty line people. With this card, Ahmad gets sufficient quantity of wheat, rice, sugar and kerosene oil for his daily use. He gets these essentials at half of the market price. He purchases his monthly stock during a particular day when the ration shop is open for below poverty people. In this way, Ahmad is able to eke out his survival with less than sufficient earnings for his big family where he is the only earning member. The social composition along with the inability to buy food also plays a role in food insecurity. The SCs, SDs and some sections of the OBCs, lower castes among them, who have either poor land base or very low land productivity are prone to food insecurity. The people affected by natural disasters, who have to migrate to other areas in search of work, are also among the most food insecure people. A high incidence of malnutrition prevails among women. This is a matter of serious concern as it puts even the unborn baby at the risk of malnutrition. A large proportion of pregnant and nursing mothers and children under the age of 5 years constitute an important segment of the food insecure population. According to the National Health and Family Survey, NHFS, 1998-99, the number of such women and children is approximately 11 crore. The food insecure people are disproportionately large in some regions of the country, such as economically backward states with high incidence of poverty, tribal and remote areas, regions more prone to natural disasters, etc. In fact, the states of Uttar Pradesh, eastern and southeastern parts, Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, parts of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra account for largest number of food insecure people in the country. Hunger is another aspect indicating food insecurity. Hunger is not just an expression of poverty, it brings about poverty. The attainment of food security therefore involves eliminating current hunger and reducing the risks of future hunger. Hunger has chronic and seasonal dimensions. Chronic hunger is a consequence of diets persistently inadequate in terms of quantity and/or quality. Poor people suffer from chronic hunger because of their very low income and in turn inability to buy food even for survival. Seasonal hunger is related to cycles of food growing and harvesting. This is prevalent in rural areas because of the seasonal nature of agricultural activities and in urban areas because of casual laborers. For example, there is less work for casual construction laborers during the rainy season. This type of hunger exists when a person is unable to get work for the entire year. The percentage of seasonal, as well as chronic hunger has declined in India as shown in the above table. India is aiming at self-sufficiency in food grains since independence. After independence, Indian policymakers adopted all measures to achieve self-sufficiency in food grains. India adopted a new strategy in agriculture, which resulted in green revolution, especially in the production of wheat and rice. Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister of India, officially recorded the impressive strides of green revolution in agriculture by releasing a special stamp entitled Wheat Revolution in July 1968. The success of wheat was later replicated in rice. The increase in food grains was, however, disproportionate. The highest rate of growth was achieved in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, which was 44.01 and 30.21 million tons in 2015-16. The total food grain production was 252.22 million tons in 2015-16 and it has changed to 275.68 million tons in 2016-17. Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh recorded a significant production in field of wheat which was 26.87 and 17.69 million tons in 2015-16, respectively. West Bengal and UP, on the other hand, recorded significant production of rice 15.75 and 12.51 million tons in 2015-16 respectively. Food security in India. Since the advent of the Green Revolution in the early 1970s, the country has avoided famine even during adverse weather conditions. India has become self-sufficient in food grains during the last 30 years because of a variety of crops grown all over the country. The availability of food grains, even in adverse weather conditions or otherwise, at the country. What is buffer stock? Buffer stock is the stock of food grains, namely wheat and rice, procured by the government through the Food Corporation of India, FCI. The FCI purchases wheat and rice from the farmers in states where there is surplus production. The farmers are paid a pre-announced price for their crops. This price is called Minimum Support Price, MSP. The MSP is declared by the government every year before the sowing season to provide incentives to farmers for raising the production of these crops. The purchased food grains are stored in granaries. Do you know why this buffer stock is created by the government? This is done to distribute food grains in the deficit areas and among the poorest strata of the society at a price lower than the market price, also known as issue price. This also helps resolve the problem of shortage of food during adverse weather conditions or during the periods of calamity. What is the public distribution system? The food procured by the FCI is distributed through government-regulated ration shops among the poorer section of the society. This is called the public distribution system, PDS. Ration shops are now present in most localities, villages, towns and cities. There are about 5.5 lakh ration shops all over the country. Ration shops also, known as fair price shops, keep stock of food grains, sugar, and kerosene for cooking. These items are sold to people at a price lower than the market price. Any family with a ration card can buy a stipulated amount of these items, for example 35 kilograms of grains, 5 liters of kerosene, 5 kilograms of sugar etc., every month from the nearby ration shop. The introduction of rationing in India dates back to the 1940s against the backdrop of the Bengal famine. The rationing system was revived in the wake of an acute food shortage during the 1960s, prior to the Green Revolution. In the wake of the high incidence of poverty levels, as reported by the NSSO in the mid-1970s, 3 important food intervention programs were introduced: Public Distribution System (PDS) for food grains, in existence earlier but strengthened thereafter; Integrated Child Development Services (ICDS), introduced in 1975 on an experimental basis; and Food for Work (FFW), introduced in 1977-78. Over the years, several new programs have been launched and some have been restructured with the growing experience of administering the programs. At present, there are several poverty alleviation programs, PAPs, mostly in rural areas, which have an explicit food component also. While some of the programs such as PDS, midday meals etc. are exclusively food security programs, most of the PAPs also enhance food security. Employment programs greatly contribute to food security by increasing the income of the poor. Current status of the distribution system. Public distribution system, PDS, is the most important step taken by the Government of India, GOI, towards ensuring food security. In the beginning, the coverage of PDS was universal with no discrimination between the poor and the non-poor. Over the years, the policy related to PDS has been revised to make it more efficient and targeted. In 1992, revamped Public Distribution System, RPDS, was introduced in 1,700 blocks in the country. The target was to provide the benefits of PDS to remote and backward areas. From June 1997, in a renewed attempt, Targeted Public Distribution System, TPDS, was introduced to adopt the principle of targeting the poor in all areas. It was for the first time that a differential price policy was adopted for poor and non-poor. Further, in 2000, 2 special schemes were launched, viz., Antyodaya Anna Yoyana, AAY, and Annapurna Scheme, APS, with special target groups of poorest of the poor and indigent senior citizens, respectively. The functioning of these 2 schemes was linked with the existing network of the PDS. Some important features of PDS are summarized in Table 4.3. The PDS has proved to be the most effective instrument of government policy over the years in stabilizing prices and making food available to consumers at affordable prices. It has been instrumental in averting widespread hunger and famine by supplying food from surplus regions of the country to the deficit ones. In addition, the prices have been under revision in favor of poor households in general. The system, including the minimum support price and procurement, has contributed to an increase in food grain production and provided income security to farmers in certain regions. However, the public distribution system has faced severe criticism on several grounds. Instances of hunger are prevalent despite overflowing granaries. FCI godowns are overflowing with grains, with some rotting away and some being eaten by rats. Graph 4.2 shows the difference in food grain stocks in Central Pool and its stocking norms. Antyodaya Anayoyana, AAY, was launched in December 2000. Under this scheme, 1 crore of the poorest among the BPL families covered under the targeted public distribution system were identified. Poor families were identified by the respective state rural development departments through a below poverty line (BPL) survey. 25 kilograms of food grains were made available to each eligible family at a highly subsidized rate of 2 per kilogram for wheat and 3 per kilogram for rice. This quantity has been enhanced from 25 to 35 kilograms with effect from April 2002. The scheme has been further expanded twice by additional 50 lakh BPL families in June 2003 and in August 2004. With this increase, 2 crore families have been covered under the E. Subsidy is a payment that a government makes to a producer to supplement the market price of a commodity. Subsidies can keep consumer prices low while maintaining a higher income for domestic producers. In 2014, the stock of wheat and rice with FCI was 65.3 million tons, which was much more than the minimum buffer norms. However, these remained consistently higher than the buffer norms. The situation improved with the distribution of food grains under different schemes launched by the government. There is a general consensus that high level of buffer stocks of food grains is very undesirable and can be wasteful. The storage of massive food stocks has been responsible for high carrying costs, in addition to wastage and deterioration in grain quality. Freezing of MSP for a few years should be considered seriously. The increased food grains procurement at enhanced MSP is the result of the pressure exerted by leading food grain producing states, such as Punjab, Haryana, and Andhra Pradesh. Moreover, as the procurement is concentrated in a few prosperous regions, Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, and to a lesser extent in West Bengal, and mainly of 2 crops, wheat and rice, increase in MSP has induced farmers, particularly in surplus states, to divert land from production of coarse grains, which is the staple food of the poor, to the production of rice and wheat. The intensive utilization of water in the cultivation of rice has also led to environmental degradation and fall in the water level, threatening the sustainability of the agricultural development in these states. The rising minimum support prices, MSP, have raised the maintenance cost of procuring food grains by the government. Rising transportation and storage costs of the FCI are other contributing factors in this increase. As per the NSSO report number 558, in rural India, the per person per month consumption of rice has declined from 6.38 kilograms in 2004-05 to 5.98 kilograms in 2011-12. In urban India, the per person per month consumption of rice, too, has declined from 4.71 kilograms in 2004-05 to 4.49 kilograms in 2011-12. Per capita consumption of PDS rice has doubled in rural India and increased by 66% in urban India since 2004-05. The per capita consumption of PDS wheat has doubled since 2004-05 in both rural and urban India. PDS dealers are sometimes found resorting to malpractices like diverting the grains to open market to get better margin, selling poor quality grains at ration shops, irregular opening of the shops, etc. It is common to find that ration shops regularly have unsold stocks of poor quality grains left. This has proved to be a big problem. When ration shops are unable to sell, a massive stock of food grains piles up with the FCI. In recent years, there is another factor that has led to the decline of the PDS. Earlier, every family, poor and non-poor, had a ration card with a fixed quota of items such as rice, wheat, sugar, etc. These were sold at the same low price to every family. The 3 types of cards and the range of prices that you see today did not exist. A large number of families could buy food grains from the ration shops subject to a fixed quota. These included low-income families whose incomes were marginally higher than the below poverty line families. Now, with TPDS of 3 different prices, any family above the poverty line gets very little discount at the ration shop. The price for APL family is almost as high as open market price, so there is little incentive for them to buy these items from the ration shop. Role of cooperatives in food security. The cooperatives are also playing an important role in food security in India, especially in the southern and western parts of the country. The cooperative society set up shops to sell low-priced goods to poor people. For example, out of all fair price shops running in Tamil Nadu, around 94% are being run by the cooperatives. In Delhi, Mother Dairy is making strides in provision of milk and vegetables to the consumers at controlled rate decided by Government of Delhi. Amul is another success story of cooperatives in milk and milk products from Gujarat. It has brought about the white revolution in the country. These are a few examples of many more cooperatives running in different parts of the country ensuring food security of different sections of society. Similarly, in Maharashtra, Academy of Development Science, ADS, has facilitated a network of NGOs for setting up grain banks in different regions. ADS organizes training and capacity building programs on food security for NGOs. Grain banks are now slowly taking shape in different parts of Maharashtra. ADS efforts to set up grain banks, to facilitate replication through other NGOs and to influence the government's policy on food security are thus paying rich dividends. The ADS Grain Bank program is acknowledged as a successful and innovative food security intervention.